All right, so today we're going to chat about something. I don't really do this too often but I probably will start doing it more often. I haven't did it in the past because I don't know. Part of me is like, am I supposed to be doing this? Just because of my background beliefs in some of the places that I grew up in. But in the front of my mind, I'm like, worse people are doing it, like for sure. For sure. People without understanding of a lot of things are doing it. And they do it very loudly. So I figure my heart is pure. My intentions are pure. My conscience is clear. And in all measures, I try to give my best idea to those, to anybody I'm communicating with. And I feel like in this offering, that's still intact. So I hope you, engage in the topic at hand. Good, bad, or indifferent. I can really build with any type of conversation, as long as it's a conversation. I don't really get into arguments. That's for kids. I know we don't all have to agree on the same thing and see it the same way. But I love talking about ideas and the structure of them to create new ones. And so, like I said, I don't know, but I do know. And so I will. And what we're talking about is something that you've probably heard. I'm almost certain. You're probably familiar with, I'm almost certain. And it's a statement. It's a statement or a scripture that you're familiar with. And that is, the love of money is the root of all evil. Yep. The love of money is the root of all evil. Now, if you're aware, you know that's a Bible verse in 1 Timothy 6:10. I think so. And so in that verse, it says, for the love of money is the root of all evil. Some people in reaching for it have strayed from the faith and pierced themselves with many sorrows. All right. I'm just going to take the first part. For the love of money is the root of all evils. And I've heard that break down pretty much the same way probably every time I've heard it. It's always generally the same, that it's not all kinds of evil, it's only certain kinds of evil, and but it's cool. I'm gonna attack it a little differently. For me, when I look at sentences or structures that I'm trying to break down, I look at the words, because I think each word carries a picture within itself. And so I look at each word and I kind of put the pictures together of the words to see if it matched the meaning of the sentence, to see if it gives me a deeper understanding of what's there. And so that's what I'm gonna do with this phrase. The love of money is the root of all evil. I don't want to deal with the word evil because that's a morality word. And we know morality is to each his own. And there's various levels of it. So I don't want to start there. Let's start with something basic like the root. The love of money is the root. What is a root? Well, from my perspective, I've been gardening for, I don't even know, probably 15, 16 years, 17 years, I don't know. And so when I think about a root, it brings me back to those pictures, those plants I've seen grown, the ones I'm looking at now, the ones that are outside. And when I think about root, it becomes a network. It's a network beneath the surface, so it's kind of unseen. Well, it is unseen for the most part. It's a network beneath the surface, extracting resources. So when you plant a seed and that first tap root hits, well, it's already in the dirt because the seed's in the dirt. So when that tap root's exposed, it immediately start gathering what the plant needs from its surrounding area. It's taking the resources that are there and alchemizing it to its benefit. It's eating it up. And so let's start with that word. Let's build a bridge with that so we can have a picture of what root is. And so for this, we'll say root is the network beneath the surface, extracting resources. I think we all can agree on that. Hopefully. I don't know. So let's look at the other parts of it. I don't want to touch love quite yet because, you know, everybody got 8 million variations of that word. So let's keep it simple and build our way up there. So for the love of money, money would be the next word that jumps out. And that's a tricky one. That's a really tricky one because, you know, you have people on one side that's like, hey, money ain't real, which is true. The feds literally decide when they're going to print it and get it out. So in some instances, yeah, you're right. Money ain't real. But in the instance of you experiencing reality, it becomes a big part of it. So it's hard to just dismiss it as not being real. Just because it's fiat currency and fake and it's not backed by nothing and all that, yada, yada, yada. We still have to acknowledge its presence because of the impact it carries on our life. So I don't want to go there. But I will go to the aspect of money being an energy. It's not like electricity or the energy you get from wind. It's more of a specific energy. And this energy, sorry, need that tea. This energy is specific to the exchange between humans. So, I wouldn't say money is value, but it might be valuable to you. But I don't consider money being literal value. I can consider value creating money. That sounds more accurate. The value you give can potentially create money. You see that in just about every aspect. The value the cell phone company gives you deserves a bill every month. The value the water company gives you deserves a bill every month. At least that's the perception. And just about everything else. But I don't want to use money in the defining of money. So I can't say value creates money. What about this? Value creates value. What do you mean? I just changed money for value. So if you're looking at holistically, what we use money for? Holistically, in my opinion, the way I look at it, the way I view things. Holistically, I invest value in myself to create a valuable experience for somebody else. Holistically. Money is the exchange, they reciprocate. Holistically. So Value invested becomes value experienced. The reciprocation of that is the energy of money. Does that make sense? In my head, it does. I hope you're following. But if not, it's all good either way. And so we have roots, which is an unseen network gathering resources. We have money, which is the energy that is gathering. The reciprocation of a value experience. So now, let's get into one of these tougher words. Because remember, it's for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. And I'll start with love. Because this is kind of how I broke it down for my own sanity. When I was, as I've been leaning more and more into entrepreneurship, you realize that the basis of how you think is the trajectory of which you will go. And so you have to challenge beliefs, which I do all the time anyway, just because I don't think I believe the highest belief. So I'm always questioning it. And so this is one of the beliefs I had to challenge. And love is a big word to take on. Everybody has their own meaning for love. We use it so freely, which I'm not upset with. I think it's a beautiful thing to use the word love often. But I think it's even more beautiful. All right, so let's break down love. Because for me, I don't think love is a feeling. I think when we use love as a feeling, it generally shows. And that's why I don't think it's what the word really means. Let's look up what Webster would say love is, because I don't know if I've ever done that. And see if Webster, a strong feeling of affection and concern towards another person, as that arising from kinship or close friendship. A strong feeling of affection, concern for another person, a feeling of devotion or adoration toward God or a God. Yeah, boy, I would completely disagree with your boy Webster on that one, for sure. When I think about love in the arena of feelings, what I know about emotions is that they change quickly, they change often, and they recycle themselves according to situations that occur and the perceptions taking on those situations. Love is about as constant as the wind or the oxygen that fills your lungs. So it's hard for me to believe that love is a feeling. I've had people tell me they love me and then tell me something completely contrary within hours or a day. That's inconsistent. That looks like an emotion, not love. I done had people tell me they love me, and then that'll be it. Heck, I done told people I love them, and that's it. And I'm hoping that from their perspective, it's the same as my perspective. The only reason why there hasn't been anything else is because the opportunity hasn't presented. But I don't think love is a feeling. It's always there. I wrote this down. Love being expressed as a feeling might mean you haven't decided or dedicated the time to sit with it, the thought of love, beyond just the word. But for my intuitive sake, it generally resembles different levels of happiness. We have all these different levels of happiness, from elation to joy. And I think that's what we really mean when we say love as a feeling. I don't really consider it that. But if we look at if we look at love as an action, that definition starts to show more consistent. So what's the action of love? Well, for me, when I look at it and I look at various situations and try to just synthesize it to break it down to its simplest form. And so what I came up with is that love is the internal nudges or movement that initiates focus-driven work. That's what love is to me. It's those nudges and those movements that allow you to focus and put all your energy into some work. Now, when that's expressed, as if you ever seen a pregnant lady, a happy pregnant lady. Some of them pregnant ladies do not be happy. But if you ever seen a happy pregnant lady, you are witnessing the embodiment of love in physical form. It is a person waking up every day who constantly has mental nudges and initiates movement to provide for an unborn child. All the action is taken is for the benefit of the situation and all involved. Because that mother's actions will produce a healthy child to express in the entire world. The entire world gets to see this expression. All involved. It's that focus-driven work that includes all involved in the situation. That's love. When I think about that from the highest level, well, not the highest level, I guess one of the higher levels, the love I have for myself. How do I show that? It's not just a feeling. Oh, I feel love today. Self-love, self-love. It's not the feeling. It's me waking up and meditating. That nudge I get to do 20 push-ups because I don't know if I'm gonna make it to the gym. So I'm gonna just do 20 push-ups randomly all day. That nudge I get to eat clean food. This is self-love. It's the action. It's the focus-driven work. When you're married and you see those beautiful couples that are just happy, matching outfits, cheesing, smiling, ain't on their cell phones, like you know their happiness is genuine. It ain't a show. They not running out of gas because every time you see it, you see that light. You've just witnessed two people who has focus-driven work for each other. They make plans. They have intentions. That's what love is to me. Now, you don't have to accept my definition. I'm cool with it. I am definitely cool with it. But for my brain, it makes way more sense. It makes way more sense. And so when I look at love from the action stance as focus-driven work, when I look at situations, I can do focus-driven work, but not have no love involved. And so what do I mean? We use love so often, we don't even have two different words for its dual nature. We don't have two different words for love and hate, even though they're opposites. Love and hate are just degrees of love. Degrees of your focus-driven action. If it's on the scale of love, on the side of love, that means the focus-driven work is to produce the benefit for all involved. But if it's on the scale of hate, that means your focus-driven work is to produce something for self. regardless of who's involved. If we look at the pregnant lady, who I just stated is the embodiment of love, if that pregnant woman is only thinking about herself, she might continue to smoke because it makes her feel good. She might continue to drink because it won't do nothing major. She's using focus-driven work to provide a healing for herself in disregards to everything else involved. So that's the removal of, what's the word? That's the removal of yourself out of the situation with everybody else. To think you're a singular entity in this collective entity. And that's what would be expressed if a mother decided to take that route. What you would be seeing is an embodiment of hate. A situation where there's multiple people who should benefit, but you done collapse that to just be your benefit. And that's what hate is, at least in this brain. I'm not asking you to take this brain or even think like this brain, but I'm just sharing. So when we pull that focus-driven work back into our statement, the love of money is the root of evil. So if my focus-driven work is on the exchange that I receive from giving someone's an experience, I'm creating a network of unseen resource gathering evil. All kinds of it. If my focus-driven work, and so when that hit me, like boom, right in the chest, I took it. I ate it. And I looked at my focus-driven work. What am I currently working on? And at the time, most of my energy was to whoever was paying me. I look at my life and see that I have set up life situations all around who's paying me. All right, I'm working overnights. So that means I can only do something like I'm gonna get off at 6. I probably sleep till noon. So that means I got a little time. Everything got situated around that. I was working 3 jobs at a moment. I'll leave, overnight work, go to the school, work there, leave the school, go to football practice, leave there, take a quick nap, usually in somebody's park. Random spots. Catch me sleeping in a Walmart parking lot. Don't worry, 5% tent. So no one's seen me. And usually I had a friend with me. And he got 9 friends. But still, all my focus-driven work was around creating money. It wasn't about the experience. It was about what I got at the end of it. And that didn't sit well with me. So what do? If I don't want my focus-driven work to be tied to money, but I want to do focus-driven work, I want to get paid. So what do? You begin to align your focus-driven work with who you are and the experience that you give from that. And then you will become indifferent. Now, indifferent is completely removed from the love category. Like I said, love, because we have limited words, the 2 poles of love is love and hate. To completely remove yourself out of that category, it becomes indifferent. I'm indifferent about these lights. I probably won't even take action. I'll probably just buy another when they break. Cause I don't love them. I ain't got no time for it. You know what I mean? And that's the perspective that we should have with money. At least that's what I gathered from the information when I unfold the text. That if I love it and I understand that love is is a sliding scale from love to hate, that means anywhere in between it, I'm still loving it. And so if I'm indifferent to the money, now that I'm indifferent to the money, I'm going to be more intentional about the value I invest in myself so that I can give you a greater experience. Because anybody that knows, especially if you work with kids, it's so evident with kids. If I work on myself to create a value and then I give it to a child, this could be just as simple as shooting a jump shot. If I give that gift to a child, they give me something back. That experience in teaching that child gives me something every time. If you ever took your kid and helped them get that bike sturdy and start pedaling, it gives you something every time, even if it ain't your kid. If you ever, let me think of a good one, a really good one. If you ever seen an elderly person who needed a little help and you just offered your abilities to help, you receive something from that experience you gave. So being indifferent to the money doesn't mean you don't know how much you got. Don't mean you don't know how much is there, but you know it's just a tool. Your money becomes to you more like a bag of rice. You can always eat from it, or you can leave it there, or you can share. But it's not something that I'm deciding all of my factors on. It's not something that's making the movement of my life go. It's not the sole focus of my focus-driven work. Because I understand that if I use my focus-driven work on the money, I'm creating an unseen network of evil. And I don't want that. So it started to turn my focus away from just getting money into getting into position for creating an impact and an experience for others as best I know. Now, that was just the basic revelation that I got from that text. Because the way my mind works and because the understandings that I have. But what if a person read that text and said, so the focus-driven work, if the focus-driven work is directed towards money, then I can build an unseen network of evil. Because I understand everything has two sides. And so what would that look like if the focus-driven work which is love, of money, which is what is received from a valued experience. If I was diabolical and I knew that, how do I get other people to use their focus-driven work so I can create money? Because I don't want to use all my focus-driven work to create money. I'm using somebody else's focus-driven work to create money. And if I was diabolical, I'll try to use their focus-driven work every single day. I'll wake them up, tell them to get to work, tell them to focus on it. And if they didn't, I'll probably get mad. Why ain't you focusing on your work? Trying to make some money. And maybe do some evil things. But I think if you do that, you might have like revolts. You might have people wanting to hurt you. So in order to maintain that level of, let's just call it like slavery. In order to maintain that level of slavery, I would need to be very evil overtly. Like the roots of evil are growing trees of evil and everybody see it. That's a little much. What if I wanted to be a little more subtle? What if I wanted to slide in there to get this evil off? Maybe I will create a system where unknowingly everybody's focus-driven work is on money. If unknowingly their focus-driven work is on money, they don't even know that they're loving it. So how can I get everybody's focus-driven work to be on money in a way that they don't know? Maybe I create a system where how we see people is related to money. How we engage with people is dictated on money. How we use our life's energy, attention, and awareness is all for the gain of money. But I got to start young because kids are crazy. I will have to get kids to not be so explorative with their minds, to kind of simmer down. Focus up. Look at this and look at this. Focus your mind over here and over here. I couldn't let them be so expansive because their love might take them to a task outside of my system. If they're not focused on the money enough, they might just start doing stuff that, makes them feel good and makes their family feel good and impactful and solving problems for them because they love it. They won't think about the money. I gotta make the kids think about the money from a very early age, because they might figure out a way to live life extraordinarily happy without it. So how do I do that? Maybe I can tie their whole lifestyle into how much money they get. I think I'm cooking. If I tie their whole lifestyle into how much money they get, they have to use all their focus-driven work to get money. But I got to get money off that too, because they're going to be focusing that whole time while they learning. Maybe I got it. I teach them what they need to learn while I'm making money. Then I send them somewhere else to learn even more that'll bring me even more money. And then they can go work for a company or a place with a very specific task, to where they're never deterred from the focus of getting money. Ooh, that's a lot more subtle. Yeah, I like the way that. The reality is, if we're not aware of what you're doing, you might not be aware of what you're doing. I use that analogy, that little walkthrough, just to show. Regardless of how you feel about where you live and who you're around and all that, there are systems that are higher. And if there's a higher system in which I'm involved in, and the higher system is creating evil, I'm a part of the evil system. I use this analogy to people that I talk to. It's a little harsh, it's a little rough, but it's the only analogy in this situation that is acceptable. Because I can use a ton of different analogies in the same format, but only one is acceptable. And what that is if the system that you're working in isn't a system that you align with, then you're working more for the system than you are yourself. Now, if you're aligned and you know what you're retrieving from this system to create impact, to create a better experience, to create more valuable experience, then you're using the system appropriately. But it's hard for me to believe that there wasn't guards that went to church on Sunday or went to whatever religious practice they did. And then their job was to be a guard at Auschwitz. Yeah, you could be the holiest guard at Auschwitz, but you steal. You see it depicted in movies that depict slave times and those situations where everybody get dolled up for church and then continuously replay the evils. So for me, sitting with this for that time frame, understanding, playing with the words, unfolding the pictures within the words, creating more pictures within pictures, the fractal nature of life. For me, I have to use all my invested value to create the best experience for people. And somehow stuff's gonna get paid for. And that's just what I roll with and what I believe. But I appreciate your time. I'm forever grateful. Anybody who sits and listens to me yap in chat, I got a lot of love for you. But engage with me. If this was something you was like, that was kind of cool. I wouldn't mind hearing your thoughts on something else. Go ahead and poke the bear. I won't roar. I'll just look, huh? And maybe we can build some beautiful things. Not only in conversation, maybe in actuality. To create a better future for those who get to enjoy it. And so remember, in the House of Solutions, all questions become uncovered.